Welcome back, Sonics fans, to Iconic Sonics. My name is Danny Ball, and maybe more accurately, welcome in Seattle sports fans of all kinds. We've got a great episode for you today. We've got Nate Burleson. Maybe you know him from TV, maybe you know him from Seahawks game, maybe you know him from his days when he played high school basketball at O'Day right here in Seattle. We've got a special co-host. West Coast Willie is here to help co-host. You might have seen him collabing on some stuff on the page. He is a great friend of the program. He is a huge Sonics fan. He knows more about more sports than a lot of people I've ever talked to in my life. He flexes some of his football knowledge on this episode. We get Nate to tell us some great Sonic stories from when he was a fan to when he was a player with the Seahawks and the team was still in town. It's an awesome episode, and it's brought to you by Everett 3on3. You've still got time to sign up, get your squad together, head on over to everett3on3.net, and make sure that you use code SONICS $50 for $50 off your registration fee. That's Sonics $50. Head on over to everett3on3.net. The tournament is going to be on the 18th and the 19th. They've got a 3-point contest. We'll be up there with some Sonics gear. West Coast Willie is going to be up there. It'll be a great time, a lot of great basketball. It's one of the best days of 3-on-3 basketball in Western Washington. It's presented by Boeing. There's going to be an awesome energy up there. We would love to see you, so make sure you register before July 12th. You got to get in before July 12th, and make sure to use that code SONICS $50. That's enough for me. Let's get right into this episode with Nate Burleson and West Coast Willie. All right, Sonics fans, welcome back. We've got a very special guest today and a special co-host. We've got Nate Burleson in the house. We also have West Coast Willie, who's going to be doing some co-hosting with me. Nate, we'll start with you. You got a bunch of sneakers behind you. You got some Seattle gear on. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I can't complain. I'm hardly home, but always repping. Actually, I'm home more often than not, but still got my family out there. My roots are out there. People know me as a guy that was born in Canada because my dad was playing in the CFL, but we were living in Seattle. Seattle's always going to be home. So it's good to connect with some Pacific Northwest guys, man.
Definitely. West Coast Willie, how are you doing? Where are you coming from?
Solid. I'm down in Oregon City. Obviously, Everett guy, that's why I got the Aqua Sox hat on, but we live down here because we get about 30, 40 fewer days of rain a year. So,
yeah.
Very nice, very nice. It's funny, Nate, I had no idea that you were born in Canada until I was looking at your football reference, and so we were going to ask about that. But looks like you took care of the first question on your own intro there, so that's perfect. With it being Iconic Sonics and all, we figured we would start. You were here in 06 was your first year with the Seahawks, so the team was still here. Bring us back in a time machine. What was it like? Were you friends with any of the guys on the team? Were you going to games? Just give us the Nate Burleson kind of Sonics crossover experience for our listeners at home.
I'll take you all the way back, man, to when I was younger. I was born in 81. Like I said, born in Canada, but raised in Seattle. So I was only in Canada during the infancy stages. I was raised in Skyway, which is South Seattle, over there by Rainier Beach, if people are trying to find the location. But, we loved the Sonics. That was my favorite team. And they were so iconic back in the day. Of course, like the two names that jump out is Gary Payton and Sean Kemp, but Detlef Shrimp, Dale Ellis, like X-Man, like the list goes on. It was just so many different players that were bigger than life to me. 2 times I saw the Sonics like up close and personal. One was when one of the Sonics players was at a community center, and I was sitting there on a weekend basketball camp, and Dale Ellis came in, and he's just like shooting threes, and it looked so pretty. He had that perfect like robotic jumper, and I'll never forget that. And then another time, our team, our basketball team, I was playing for CAY, which is down in the Central District. We were raising money for our travel AAU team. And there was like our team and another squad on the other end, and we're shooting free throws. And every free throw you hit, they were going to donate. I think it was like $100 a shot, which looking back at it, I get it's the 90s, but they should have gave us more than $100. But anyways, I wasn't really a shooter, even all the way up through high school. Like I was a guy that can hit the midi, hit the floater. If I get close to the basket, I'm going to punch on you. So I was nervous. I was like, man, I'm not going to hit any of these free throws. This is going to be like the worst moment of my life. So then, as the crowd was raucous at halftime, they call us out, from Seattle, Washington, the CAY, 8-year-olds or whatever it was at that time. And I'm just looking at this rim that seems so far away, bro. It looked like an NBA three-pointer from the free throw line. And I had 5 chances at hitting a free throw. And I hit all 5. And I felt like it was like my moment to shine in front of the biggest stars. And as I was walking off, it was Xavier McDaniel, I think. He looked down and he was kind of like, hey, little man, you got stroke. And I'm like, hey, okay, all right. It's like, it just felt so good. So ever since then, that was like the moment I fell in love with the team. And then as I got older, went to college, played in Minnesota, and then when I signed back with Seattle, I just made some good money. Like, I was a 3rd-round pick. All money is good money to me. As a kid who just like was so appreciative to be in the league, the fact that they were paying me to be in the NFL was mind-blowing. Like, every Tuesday, this was old school, so they would put our physical checks like on our stool, and I would like have this huge smile on my face, and in the back of my mind, I would think the same thing. I can't believe they're paying us to play a game that we played at recess. And it was just like, I've always had that. Like, I've always been thankful for any type of money I get for doing any job. So when I made my contract in Seattle, which was really like a 4-year, $12 million deal, but it was during the poison pill with Hutchinson, so it read like $7.49. That's a whole different story. But the reality was I was making $4 for something, right? And I remember they handed me a check and it said $2.6 million on it. And I was just like, what is going on? Like, this is crazy. I'm at home in Seattle and they're paying me to play football. And but I say all that because this was at the time where I'm like, all right, I need to start making good decisions with my money. That's either like investing it well, making sure my family is taken care of, my kids are taken care of, and my extended family has a little something. And then also decide how I'm going to spend it on myself. Up until that point, it was the rapper starter kit. I had the Escalade, big rims. This is '03. I was drafted with the team that had Dante Culpepper and Randy Moss. These dudes had fur coats in the winter. They had spinner wheels. A lot of these other guys was from the South. They was candy painting their whips. So I did the same thing. I got me a Escalade, candy paint, rims, TVs in it. Bro, it's kind of ridiculous now, but I had an Xbox in the back of the car. And I'm like, now that I think about it, I'm always driving. Why did I have an Xbox in the back of the car? So I say all that because the Escalade, the fake watches, fake chain, fake earrings, I did all that for 3 years. And then when I signed this decent deal, I'm like, all right, treat yourself. Don't cheat yourself. Like, stop buying the bootleg things that fall apart and start buying things that hold their value. When you buy a car, I'm going so crazy on it that you devalue it unless somebody wants that exact car and buy something that doesn't depreciate so much off the lot. And then lastly, figure out a way to just spend a little money on yourself. So to answer your question in a very long-winded way, I was like, I'm going to get tickets to the Seattle Sonics regular season. I'm going to be a season ticket holder.
There we go. Like, there it is.
Growing up.
There it is.
My family didn't have that. Like, we didn't, the only people I knew, and I'm going to just keep it real, you know what I'm saying, because we like family right now. It was the white kids from the east side. They was always talking about they mom, they dad that had the super paper. And a few of them are my friends even still to this day. And I would go over to their house and they'd be like, Nate, you want to go to the game with us? And I'm like, yeah. And we go to the game and I'm like, these are some cool seats. How much do they cost? They're like, what do you mean how much they cost? We're in them every home game. So, like, that little boy in me that just wanted to be in the club of people that could afford a really cool upfront professional sports experience, I went and splurged. And here's how frugal I was. They were like, all right, we got the entire season. And the entire season was expensive, man. It had to be like 70 or 80,000 or something like that. And I'm like, I mean, I love my team, but damn, can I get a discount? or, maybe even select a few games. And they were like, look, we'll let you pick some games, and you can just do a package of half season. It was my first experience doing all of it. And that was the time where I had, like, not courtside, but like a couple of rows back. And it was just cool, man. It was cool to walk in and watch these guys play. Young Kevin Durant coming in. And little did I know this would be some of the last years I'll ever see my team play in Seattle.
This episode is presented to you by Everett 3on3. Head on over to Everett 3on3, that's the number 3on3.net, to register for their 3on3 tournament. It's going to be on July 18th and 19th. There's also a 3-point contest. We'll be up there with some Sonic swag, giving that away. West Coast Willie, who's co-hosting this episode with me, will also be up there. It's going to be a great time, and it's one of the best days of 3on3 basketball in Western Washington. Be sure to register before July 12th. Get in, get your team there, and make sure to use that code SONICS $50 for $50 off your registration fee. Now, let's get back to this episode.
You were preaching to the choir there, talking about the white kids with the season tickets, because I was originally from Everett, and my dad and I lived with my grandma. Before he met my stepmom, who ended up doing like 25 years at Microsoft. So the second we moved from Everett to Redmond. And then
it's a whole different ball
my dad
game.
all of a sudden
Everett and Redmond.
Yeah. All of a sudden my dad has season tickets to the Seahawks. We had 20 game passes to the Sonics. He's pulling me out of school to take me to Mariners opening day every year. And I was like, this is sweet. I had no idea what was going on, but I hear what you're saying. And I was part of those 20 game pass kids, fortunately.
Yeah,
that's great. All right. Well, I mean, you mentioned KD. Obviously, you gave us a great X-Man story at the free throw line there. Bring me back to when you had your half season pass tickets there, and give me a Kevin Durant memory from that season in 07-08.
I just remember him coming in and being so lanky and skinny, and I was hearing all these rumors about our draft pick, how this young guy, he wasn't that strong. And this is the time when I'm at like peak NFL athleticism, and all we care about is strength and speed. So there's these rumors floating around that he couldn't lift the bar and he can't even bench 135. And, we're all in the locker room like we're some big badasses. Like, what, man? Come on now. He's going to get tossed around. He wouldn't survive in the 80s and the 90s. But that was just all of our bravado speaking. But the reality is, like, Kevin Durant, his frame wasn't meant to put on big weight and big muscle. So to see, like, his maturity and his growth, it was something special. It was just unfortunate because, like, as entertaining as they were at times, I love the NBA. It's my favorite sport. I didn't think we had a chance. There wasn't ever a year where I'm like, we got a shot to make a run. I knew we had talent, but we were just too young and too inexperienced. The only time I really thought we had a shot was when, GP and Kemp was facing MJ in the finals. And I was like, nah, this is our chance. I haven't really got back to that since. Hopefully, when we get the Sonics back, we'll make another run.
There we go. Yeah, well, Willie knows a lot about that GP Mike matchup in the 96 finals there, for sure.
I know, listen, that was the video that put me on. That was the video.
Bro, I got a new Jordan stan in my DMs. Yeah, and that video's got me a new Jordan stan every single day of the week in my DMs telling me what a bum I am and this and that. I'm like, just go watch games 4 and 5 and 6. Like, GP was working.
Yeah, I respect that take so much because, like, it's easy to just fall in line and be like, Jordan is the GOAT. There was nobody like him. Every person he faced, he cooked. But that's just not true. And on top of that, like, I can tell that you're passionate about the game because you were looking at it from a logical standpoint. Listen, I'm not emotional. Even in your post, you weren't even like emotionally invested. You're like, here's just the facts. Like, go argue with your mama. Like, here's what happened. Here's how Jordan responded. Yes. Here's how GP played on offense and on defense. So, I like that, man. Like I said, when we first started, we were talking before the pod came on, and I was talking about my shoes. Yeah. Like, I grew up in the Jordan era, and I always looked at Jordan as the GOAT But like the more that I watch basketball, the more I realize like he wasn't the perfect basketball player. He was the perfect basketball player
Right.
for that era. And don't get me wrong, there's not too many athletes across all sports that play with the same type of grace and athleticism and explosiveness as Jordan did. But at the same time, he met his matches at times. He also had a perfect storm of athletes around him, and people act like he didn't play with Hall of Famers. He did. And then, he took his lumps before
Yeah.
and after his run. So I like MJ, but listen, if you're going to ask me, who my GOAT is, who's the best basketball player of all time, the young Nate Burleson would say Magic Johnson. I love Magic. I just thought he was the coolest player ever. I still do. And then this 44-year-old version of myself, I say it's LeBron James. He's the most complete basketball player to ever touch a basketball.
So LeBron is your GOAT on record.
LeBron is my GOAT on record, and you can argue with me. I'm cool with that. Slide in my DMs. If you're respectful, you know what? I'll leave a message back with you. That's how I rock when it comes to engagement. Now, I will say this. I get it. People are going to say, well, Jordan went to 6 and he won 6. Jordan, he was, defensive player of the year this many times, and Jordan played in a tougher era in the 80s and 90s. LeBron can't change the era you played in. He's the product of this style of basketball. And then on top of that, I hate when people knock LeBron for like going more, like as if that's like something that he should be ashamed of. Like, at one point, it was like the year 18 or something, and then you average it out, he was in the finals every other year. Like that type of run is crazy. Now, getting to the finals is just as hard as winning it. Of course, bringing home 4 is no slouch either. But yeah, I'm going on record saying LeBron is the GOAT.
Love it. Well, I also loved Willie's
You said
GP.
that before, but let me ask y'all, where do you think LeBron is going, by the way? Because they just announced that he's not coming back to the Lakers.
Man,
I know.
Dubs. I think he's gonna go be a Warrior.
Yeah, I'm between there. I don't think they'll be able to get AD out of Washington to make that work. Plus, they just re-signed Porzingis, so I think LeBron goes sentimental value and he goes back home one more time and retires a Cavalier.
Cleveland.
Just as I said that, a group chat is popping up right now with the different guesses in my group chat.
I saw whispers of Miami as well.
I heard that too.
What do you
That
think,
would be
Nate?
crazy. That lineup of LeBron at 6'9", then you got Giannis, who's a 7-footer, and Bam, who's a 7-footer. That would, if they get some good guard play, that's a crazy trio of bigs.
Yeah. I mean, I think the problem then is shooting, right? Like, how do you space the floor with Bam, Giannis, and LeBron? I mean, obviously, Bron can shoot it a little bit, but I don't know if you bring Bron and if you can afford to bring back Norman Powell. And then, you're kind of reliant. And, Jovic is great, but there were times he couldn't even play for them last year. So I think that's where I kind of get caught up is with the Giannis Bam of it all, is just the spacing of the court. And you know what? Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe this is the post-Curry era where we're going to start going back inside, and they're going to be a team that just beats you to death in the paint and then plays. They're going to have an unbelievable defensive system. So maybe the Heat start rewriting culture in the East over there, and they pound you inside, and then they go play lockup defense and keep teams right around 100 points. That would be. I'll say the Cavaliers though. Yeah. What I was gonna say was I also loved Willie's Gary video. Obviously, we collabed on it on the page after he did all the work of making it and stuff. But it pushed me to go back and look at the series as well. And the tidbit that I picked up on was that it's the only non-unanimous Finals MVP for Jordan. Kemp is one of 3 guys in history, along with LeBron, and then obviously Jerry West, who famously won the Finals MVP on a losing Lakers team, but he's one of only 3 guys on a losing team to even get votes in the finals. So kind of to your point there of the bandwagon that people can get on with Mike, I think sometimes by no means am I trying to knock the legacy of Michael Jordan when I say this, but I do think at times it gets a little bit blown out of proportion of like how dominant he was. Because you go back and look at it, and Kemp had just a whale of a series. You know, I've had the pleasure of talking to George Karl, who obviously coached that team, and you know he stands by the fact that Kemp was the best guy on the floor. Can you bring us back to that time and talk about the '96 finals and where were you? Are you at O'Day at that time? And yeah, what did life look like for Nate Burleson in Seattle during the finals run?
It's funny, man. You bring up so many names that through like happenings in sports, both high school and college, I was interconnected with. So at that time, I'm in high school at O'Day, and I'm playing AAU basketball in the off season, and there's a new AAU team just launching. It's called Friends of Hoop. And it was just like this group that was going to compete with all of the Central District basketball AAU teams, the CAYs, the Rainier Beaches, you know, the same squads that birthed the Jamal Crawfords and Nate Robinsons, and then also the East Side teams, the Mercer Island, Sammamish, Issaquah teams that were just powerhouses at that time, some of the best teams ever. But for me, I tried out for Friends of Hoop, and I ended up making it and started point guard on the new. It was like a expansion team in AAU in Seattle, and it was funded by like the Seahawks Foundation. So like the first initial meeting was like George Karl coming in and talking to us about what he wanted to do for Seattle and how he wanted to help out his team. And then occasionally a couple of players would come by and they would hoop with us. I remember one time specifically, Eric Snow came by and Doug Christie. And Doug Christie is a Seattle guy, but they came by. And one of my homeboys, Jimmy Haywood, who was a close friend of mine, an absolute sniper, went to Franklin, ended up playing in Oregon and moved around a little bit. He was a trash talker. He's from South Seattle. He barking at Eric Snow. And I'm like, yo, chill. He's like, nah, they think they tough, like they weak. Because listen, Eric Snow at that time wasn't like your number one PG. So there was times when people, you know how it is when people will disrespect either the starter who isn't a star or the backup in the league as if they can compete with them. Like, I'm retired and I don't even do that. So like, it always kind of bothered me when just somebody who doesn't play the game is like, that dude on the bench is a bum. So anyways, just take that type of mindset. Now you have a young, cocky athlete in Jimmy Haywood, who was by the way. But that was just him. And he would talk like that to high school players and even some college players. But it's different when the pros come in. So we're going back and forth. I'm already just tripping. I'm like, I can't believe I'm on the court with these guys who scrimmaging. And Jimmy catching. We moving the ball around. We above the rim because we all like 17, 18, so we're kind of athletic. And then Eric Snow and Doug Christie are just kind of real chill. Like, all right, man, y'all better relax. Like, chill out, man, with all the yapping. And my boy Jimmy's like, nah, y'all chill out. Y'all ain't nothing. Bro, they flipped the switch on us, and Eric Snow started playing big boy ball. Ooh, backing them down, hitting fadeaways, throwing alley-oops. We think we above the rim. They way above the rim. Like, it was crazy. It was a humbling moment that showed us the separation between kids who are young men who want to be grown and grown-ass men with bills that get paid money to play the sport they love. And that was that time frame. So we took our lumps, and then we ended up representing Seattle in a couple of tournaments outside of Washington. But yeah, that time, watching Sonics up against MJ, it felt like David against Goliath. Not in the sense that we felt like we weren't worthy enough of going up against this like figurehead of the NBA. I just always felt like Seattle was overlooked, and I've always felt like that. And it hasn't been like that, of course, over the last couple of decades with just the growth in sports from the Mariners, the Sounders, of course, the Seahawks winning championships with Russell Wilson, and then what happened recently with Sam Darnold and the Mariners, of course, and the Kraken. Like, Seattle gets love now, but I feel like in the 80s and 90s, it was always like a surprise when something cool would come out of Seattle. People would be like, oh, so Mix-a-Lot is from where? Oh, okay, all right. And then like people would finally start to show us Jamal Crawford's from where? Okay. Oh, they were opposites from where? And then the list goes on and on across all sports. I'm just naming a couple of hoopers that I grew up with, but shout out to my brother Kevin Burleson as well. So, for me, I just felt like this is our time to show the rest of the world that like we're a real contender. And the city was on fire, but MJ was MJ, man, and closed it out.
I love what you just said about people being surprised about good things coming out of Seattle, because West Coast Willie does not happen if I do not grow up with the Pacific Northwest just getting black sheeped and disrespected by the East Coast bias. That's the whole reason I started my page, is because I was just tired of people bad-mouthing the Pacific Northwest when some of the best athletes, entertainers, you name it, have come out of this corner of the country. That being said, talking current, why the hell does everyone and their mother think the Rams or the 49ers are going to win our division?
Isn't it crazy that, like, after winning the Super Bowl dominantly, by the way, and having some dominant performances, listen, you take maybe a couple of games where Sam played okay, for the most part, played phenomenal football all year long, was putting the ball in places that most quarterbacks that we praise weren't doing last year. The defense flying around, knocking heads off. Jackson Smith and Jigba, the complimentary wide receivers, running backs were on point. The coaching, the ability to game plan differently for each squad. So we do this all year long, right? And people are surprised once again. See, only people from Seattle or the Pacific Northwest, anybody that loves the Seahawks would understand why we were so adamant about like screaming from the mountaintop, because it was almost like people didn't want to give us credit for making a Super Bowl run until we were in the damn Super Bowl. It's like, okay, guys, we've been kicking ass all postseason.
Yes.
So what y'all surprised we hear now? Like they wake up one day and it's the Seahawks versus the Patriots?
Yes.
That's crazy. No, we've been kicking ass all year. So now that we do that, right, and for the most part, of course, we're losing Kenneth Walker, and there's going to be turnover on every roster. But how do we just like all of a sudden say, before even giving Seattle a chance in their own division, we're not even talking about winning the Super Bowl. They're like, it's going to be the Niners or the Rams. Now, I get it. Matt Stafford was cooking last year. They get Myles Garrett. Puka Nacua, he's focused. He's super focused. So Devontae Adams at that age, yeah, listen, he was wilding for a little bit, but the fact that he took some time away from the game, I bet you Puka, if he's locked in and he's not out there partying and hanging out, he's going to have an amazing year. The point I'm trying to make is they're loaded top to bottom. And Sean McVay is one of the best coaches. But with all that said, I feel like sports is like Madden. Like, you're only as good as your last game. Like, beat the champ. Get him off the sticks. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta knock off who's been running the PS5. So, like, for me, I feel like that's the Seahawks right now.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And it's pretty nauseating, because it's like every year. I mean, last year they said we were going to win 4 or 5 games. After winning 10 in Mike's first year. But no,
I had so much fun putting together the core edit of going back and getting, Nick Wright and all the different talking heads that were talking about, they're going to be third in the division, fourth in the division, under 6.5 wins, whatever. Like, it was so fun. That was just like before that, I think was when they were just in the Super Bowl. But, I don't know, like, I don't know about you guys. Like, I love being the underdog. Like, I can't wait for somebody to write me off, because then I'm even more fired up for it. I know Willie's got a very specific Seahawks question. It might be a Sonics podcast, but he was telling me about, hearing a story and wanted to ask you about it, so I got to let him get his question off here.
Yeah. And speaking of division championships, I know you were part of the Seahawks' third and fourth in a row in 06 and 07. 07 was an unbelievable season. I think you put together like almost 2,000 yards from scrimmage in total. I think you're the only dude in football to return three kicks, 90+ yards or punts,
Yeah.
and specifically, you bullied the life out of the Rams all year. Tell me about the conversation that Mike Holmgren had with the special teams unit at halftime when you guys were up 10-3 and then end up blowing the doors off the Rams in the second half after you took that back for what, like 90, 93 yards to open the second half?
Yeah, I remember, us being in the locker room and it's kind of quiet, and then coach comes in and he just starts talking about the stakes and reminding us how, division games, you win one, it's like winning two, and how we got to win at home. And at that point, I was so adamant about like letting my talents shine and not just talking a big game. Because I have to go back a year. When I first signed to Seattle, it was the most exhilarating and nerve-wracking moment of my life. One, because getting paid to play football like we talked about. But I'm back home. Something about being back home made me really nervous. But that training camp, I catch an out route. We're practicing at Eastern Washington. And the field was extremely dry. They didn't water it, so it was almost dirt. And I ran an out route. Hasselback threw me the ball. I caught it in my cleat slip, and I went to catch myself just like you normally would. But instead of putting my palms down, I just had my thumb and my pointer finger kind of spread apart. And it basically completely went flat, as if my fingers and my finger and my thumb were doing the splits. And I'm like, golly. And I'm like, oh, I feel like I'm bleeding. Like my hand was on fire. And I'm like, I know there's about to be blood gushing out of this glove. So I take my glove off, nothing's there. And I'm just like, what? And I go to the trainer, and now it's repaired. But they looked at my hand, and the trainer went like this, and my thumb touched my wrist. And it went all the way down here. And they're like, oh, you tore this, I think it's the ulnar ligament. So I had a decision to make. I had just signed them, my first training camp. I go into the trainer's office, and he says, well, this is the injury that we usually repair. And I'm like, how long is that going to take? They're like, it's going to take a couple of months to heal. You're going to be casted up, can't practice. Season's about to start. It's around the corner. And I'm like, all right, yeah, I hate to do it, but, I got to get the surgery. I'm a receiver. If I was a linebacker or a kicker or even a quarterback that throws with his right hand, I can do it. But, I was like, I catch the ball. And they're like, yeah, but, you just signed here. And, we want you on the field. We you being our new free agent, it's just, we got to have this. So what we can do, cast it up. We can shoot it up, numb the pain. We'll keep an eye on it. It's not going to get any worse from here. You're going to have to tough out some pain, but then in the off season, we'll get it repaired. That was the worst decision of my professional career. The worst decision. I remember that day, I went to go eat lunch, and I went to grab a Snapple bottle. And I went to pick it up. I couldn't grip it. It fell on the floor. Bottle broke. That should have been the sign that I need that surgery. And it would have been a little awkward for me to say, hey, I just signed here, but hey, Seahawks fans, I'm just getting right. I want to be ready for the middle of the season, the postseason. And I took their advice. It was bad advice. I couldn't catch the ball all season long. And I couldn't say anything because I made the decision. I felt like I made the decision. I was dropping balls in games, dropping balls at practice. I didn't have confidence. I couldn't lift because of my thumb, so I'm weaker. That first year in Seattle, it was one of my worst years of my career because I was heavily criticized for not showing up as a player, and I so desperately wanted to be I can't even grip with my fucking thumb. I wanted to say to every reporter after every game when they were watching practices, and I wasn't playing as much as I could. And then we brought in Dion, and Dion was really good. Dion Branch was phenomenal. So they were just kind of we're going to move on from this Burleson guy.
The neon gloves.
Yeah, exactly. And I remember seeing Dion, and I was competitiveness. You're like, damn, I want to hate this guy, but he's really good and he's kind of funny. I want to be his friend. So we ended up being friends. And then that off season though, immediately got the surgery. And in my head, I'm like, I'm going to destroy every DB they put in front of me. This offseason, there is no like friendly competition, like, oh, you're a vet, I'm a vet, like let's get through practice. I was so mad at how the season went. So the reason I think I put up those numbers was because of my offseason. I remember at one point I was going so hard at practice, talking like to my own guys, and I'm not that guy. But I had so much rage in me, and I was lifting harder than ever.
Yeah.
I was like working out with a team and then working out with a trainer. And I remember Trufant was like, "Yo, we good?" And I'm like, "What? Yeah, what do you mean?" He's like, "Nah, it's just like the energy." I'm like, "Nah, it's not you, man. My bad. Like I'm just on a mission." And that was like, my year to prove to not just like the team, not just to Seattle, but to me that like I am what they paid for and more. And what really like turned it up a notch for me was that offseason. I had the best offseason. And Holmgren was like, it's going to be Dion, and then it's going to be whoever else fights for the number 2 spot. DJ Hackett, who's a good friend of mine. Me and him were competing for that other spot. And I just had a better camp than him. And he was a little banged up, so he didn't play as much as he could. And it was clear. Like, I had the best camp out of everybody. It was clear I was the best receiver on the field that summer. I showed everything that I've been blessed with. Speed, ability to jump, explosiveness, in and out. I felt literally unstoppable. And I remember Holmgren brings me in his office. He's like, hey, man, yeah, great camp, great summer. Just want to let you know that. And I know I said that, it's open competition, and, whoever played the best is going to be the number 2 to Dion. But just want to let you know that I'm going with DJ, going with Hackett. And, we'll get you in there, and we'll make sure that, like, you make plays, and we'll try to get you in the rotation. My heart was hurting. It was more anger than anything, but it was hurt. It was like,
Yeah.
I understand the business of football. Like, you can tell me you're saving money because you want to cut corners. You can tell me that, like, you don't want to pay me because of a certain reason. I get the business of it. But, like, when you say it's open competition and you dominate the competition, the game is supposed to reward you. And this isn't a knock to Holmgren. I love Holmgren to this day. I think he was just so comfortable with Hack. Hack was his guy. I was brought in by someone else, brought in by the GM. So I wasn't Holmgren's guy. But that hurt. It hurt me. So I remember I had to man up, be professional. I said, all right, coach, appreciate the honesty. I shook his hand like a man. I walked out of his office. I told him, I was like, I'll be ready all year long. I walked out of his office. I walked directly into the special teams coach's office. And I was always like a backup, like the 4th string returner, just a guy with hands in case our special teamers got hurt. And I was never like a career returner in college. I returned a little bit my senior year at O'Day, but it's been years, maybe 5 or 6 years since I returned football. And I walked into special teams coach office. I said, hey, I want to be the punt return and the kickoff return. And he's like, what? Hey, what? Like, he saw what type of camp I had in the summer. He said, no, you're one of our starters. Like, get out of here. I'm like, coach, no, close the door. I'm not one of the starters. I'm going to be in the rotation. I just talked to the coach. I want to start at punt return. I want to start a kick return. I want the ball in my hands. And he's like, I don't know if they're going to let me make this happen. I got to go talk to coach. If it's okay with him, then we'll see. So he goes and talks to Holmgren, and Holmgren's like, yeah, let him have it. You know what I mean? It's probably going to pacify him anyway, kind of thing. And this is what I was thinking. God's honest truth. I'm going to make so many plays that the coaches are going to get tired of being asked why he's not playing more. Like, I'm going to give me 4 plays a game. I'm going to make those 4 plays.
That's
count.
awesome.
And if you look at the way I played in that season, that year where I was the leading receiver for the team and also the leading returner right behind Devin Hester in the NFL, it was all just like pure rage and motivation. And by middle of the season, they were just kind of like, screw it. Like, we got a game plan for Nate Moore. He's like our most dominant guy, and his catch ratio with Hasselbeck is through the roof. Like, every time he touches it, he's making a big play. And like that year was the same year where I had 3 punt returns over 90 yards because of these. Now this all makes sense when I put it in this perspective. When you're behind the 10, when you're inside your 10, you're not supposed to touch the ball. Let it go into the end zone. We'll get it on the 20. But in my head, I'm like, F it. I'm catching it. I'm not fair. What? I'm not fair catching. I'm barely getting in. Like, I'm about to take this to the house. And I tell the special teams, hey, if you can't block him, don't hold him. I'll shake him. Like, don't worry, but just get in his way, bro. I'll make him miss.
That's your line right there. That's your line right there. They didn't give me a fair shot, so why would I fair catch?
Oh, that's the bar. Hey, you sound like ChatGPT with that one. But nah, that was it. That was that year, man. And that was my mindset every time I touched the ball. Was like, I want everybody to know how good I am.
That's funny you say that, and I know Danny's got a really good question to ask you, but because that was the first thing that I said when I saw Nathaniel Burleson followed you on Instagram. I was like, no way. I got to say something to this dude about his 07 season, because I remember being in the stands that year and just losing my mind every time I knew you were back there to return something. I was like, this dude was the truth in 07, and there's not enough people who talk about it. So now that you put 2 and 2 together, that's really cool to hear. So I appreciate you sharing that with us.
No doubt.
Yeah, that's amazing, man. I love it. I love hearing about the fire that motivates people and stuff. I mean, I think, even when you're talking about meeting Dion, it's funny. I feel like I had the same thing with Willie, where I'm like, God damn, this kid's coming for my spot in this like whole sports content world. And I was like, he's too talented and too nice and too funny for me to not be his friend. So I'm like, here we are now. Now we're co-hosting together. So I can definitely.
Bro,
but I wanted to do a quick.
I'll share this one story real quick. So like,
yeah, hit me. Hit me.
So Dion, he dominates when he gets there, when we make the trade. And then I have this off season and I have this season, and Dion is like in full support of me. And it got to the point where like we were veterans. So when we would go on the road, the coach would be like, hey, veterans, you can get your own rooms. And young guys, you have to share rooms. Me and Dion went from like, being a competition to like when coaches were like, all right, Nate, you got your own room. Dion, you got your own room. Me and Dion were like, nah, man, we just gonna put us in the same room, bro. Like, we just go. So we were like, it was like stepbrothers, bro. We were just like cracking jokes all night, talking about life. And I'm from Seattle. He's from the South. Dope. So it's like, it was a different energy. And then we would just show up and compete together. So that's why I've always felt like it's healthy to feel a certain type of way about someone if you feel like they might be good or they might be coming for your spot, but at least give them the chance to show you who they are. Because, if you cut that at the knees, you could be missing out on a really cool relationship. And that's one of my best friends to this day.
I feel like Willie and I got something special brewing here, too. So I love hearing that.
Yeah,
I was going to hit you with a Mount Rushmore of...
I also didn't know that there was any beef whatsoever until he just said
It wasn't beef. It wasn't beef. It wasn't beef. It wasn't beef. I was just like, damn, this kid's good at what he does. He knows ball. Like, I better set my shit up more so. It was no beef. Just to be clear. All right, Mount Rushmore of Seattle athletes. 1 Sonic, 1 Mariner, 1 Seahawk, and then you get 1 wild card. So we'll start with the Sonic.
GP. Back and forth between GP and Kemp, but I would say GP just because I as a point guard, I'm out on my game after his, and they used to call me the mitten in high school, and when I would lock kids up, they would put up the glove. So GP.
Love it. Have you met GP2? Have you met the new mitten?
Yeah. He actually knows my brother. Like they train, because my brother coaches in the NBA. He coaches with the Pistons, Kevin. So.
Dope.
Yeah, man. You guys got to get him on. I'm gonna connect you with my brother too. You want to talk to a guy that has a wealth of basketball knowledge. Like he really knows ball. He played, of course, in the NBA for a couple of years. He's a scholarship basketball player in college, and then he's been coaching the NBA for 10. So, yeah.
Sick. We'll happily have him for sure. All right, you're wearing a Mariners hat and a great My Oh My 95 shirt. Give me your Mariner that makes Rushmore.
Come on, man.
He's gonna go get him.
Come on, man. Come on. What we doing, man? Shout out to the kid, man. Shout out to the kid. Shout out to the kid. Yeah, Ken Griffey Jr., man. He just like he's the coolest dude. I love him. A crazy nickname that just fit. The prettiest swing and the dopest swag.
Just pulled out some Griffies I never seen in my life.
Hey, I got a couple exclusives. I got a couple. All right, what we got next?
Yeah.
One Seahawk.
Seahawk. This is tough. This is tough, man. Can't be anybody recent because I don't disrespecting the legends.
Yeah. Don't get in trouble in any group chats now.
No. I would say, I want to go with some older guys, but I don't have a relationship with them. I have the most immense amount of respect for them, like Steve Largent, because he's a wide receiver. But I don't have a personal relationship with him as a player. I'm going to say Walter Jones. Walter Jones was an absolute monster. Big Walt, bro. Like, he was as cool as ever, and he was a grown-ass man. Like, there was a couple times where young guys would come in, they just got drafted or they got traded to our team, and they get to talking and barking, and Walter just nod his head. And they get to barking and talking, and Walter be like, chill out. And then they get to barking and talking, and he'll lift them off their feet. And that's not even exaggeration. We talking like grown men who have been routinely tossing around linemen their entire lives. Walter Jones is picking them up off their feet like a high school bully. And he was as cool as ever, man. One time he said I ran like a crackhead. He was like, "Man, you can't run like a crackhead." And I was like, I don't know what that means, but I'm going to take it as a compliment. So, but yeah, Walter Jones. That's my guy. That's my dog.
Cool. All right. And then one wild card. You can go any team, any sport. You can go high school hoopers, college, football, whatever you want, as long as they're from Seattle or played in Seattle.
Yeah, one wild card. Oh man, there's so many. I think I'm gonna have to say. I want to go with Sue Bird, just because
I like that.
She was able to like anchor our WNBA team into the history books, and she got swag, bro. I remember seeing her out and about in like a lounge or a club or an event. And, I'm thinking, I'm in the league now. This is my city. And I'm moving around. Got my little chain on. And I see Sue Bird over there chilling. And I'm like, I'm tripping. This is her city. The way she moving. Let me go and tighten up. I need to go ask her. You know what I'm saying? I see Sue. Even now, I see her. And she be like, what's up, man? I'm like, yo, what's up? So, I'll go with Sue Bird.
Love it. I love it. That's a great Rushmore.
Shout out Sue Bird and shout out Lauren Jackson. I just off Simply Seattle actually ordered Lauren Jackson's Mitchell and Ness. They just started releasing. She was a problem too that not enough people talk about. I do have a kind of a two-part question for you. Well, one question and then a story. Did you used to go to the Bryce Fisher Foundation dinners? Did you go to one of those when you were playing?
Yeah, I used to go.
So I met you when I was little then. And Bryce Fisher. The first year, it was at Sport Restaurant and Grill right across from the Space Needle. The second year, it was like closer to downtown, right off the freeway. I forget what the restaurant is. But all you guys were sitting in the bar and grill. And the year before, you guys were literally passing me from like lap to lap with the football, signing it and stuff. I got the football somewhere in the garage. I was just like 7 or 8. And the second year, you guys were in the bar where like kids weren't allowed. And my dad and I tried to walk in there and sign stuff because a couple of the guys recognized me from the year before. And the bar manager comes over and he's like, "Yeah, kids can't be in here. Like, you got to hop out." And Bryce heard, and Bryce walked over, and he's like, "That's my brother and that's my nephew. I was adopted. Like, they're good to sit in here, blah, 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 this and that." And like just on the fly, Bryce Fisher goes, "No, like that's my nephew and brother. Like they're good to be sitting here."
Bryce was
and I got
like
to pass
that.
my stuff around and get the stuff signed again. I was just like, that's the coolest thing that like a pro athlete has ever done in front of me. So I was like, I got to get that
Shout
off
out
the
to
chest.
Bryce, man. He's a good dude.
Also, who's the funniest or I guess coolest dude that you ever played with? Or you can go a couple if you don't want to piss any group chats off.
No. Dion is one just because, like, I call him country, but, like, Dion was funny. Seneca Wallace, really funny. Like, that dude is hilarious. He's just one of those guys that used to sit back and just crack jokes all the time, under his breath, very unassuming. But he's the sniper when we're all hanging out. By the way, if Seneca Wallace would have played 10 or 15 years later, he would have been a top 10, top 5 draft pick. He was a Heisman candidate.
Preaching.
Elite athlete. Elite. He was crazy fast. He could run, had a booming arm. And then a freak athlete. We went to the hoop court, and he's doing, like, Harold Miner dunks. Like, so I always tell Sin, like, man, you were before your time. And people looked at him as, like, a little bit too short.
It's a Cyclone legend.
He's a Cyclone legend. And he's, like, 3 or 4 inches taller than Kyler. So, like, but anyways, yeah, so I love Sin. And then coolest, I would say Culpepper and Randy Moss, just because, like they embodied like that era.
The PS2 twins?
Yeah, exactly. They were so like Randy would just like, we'd be in the meetings and shout out to our receivers coach, Charlie Baggett. He was old school. He'd be there with the clicker. We'd be all behind him and he'd get to just roll in the film. All right, and Nate, you got to make sure you split the 2 safeties right there. All right, you got it? I got you, coach. Randy, you gotta keep running. And then he'd be like, come on, CB. His nickname was CB. And it, it'd be like a ball that was too far. Like Dante just threw it out there. He's like, come on, CB. CB, don't start that shit right now, CB. And then we'd all laugh. And then like halfway through the meeting, this would happen occasionally, not all the time, but halfway through the meeting, you'd be like, hey, CB. Hey, man, I'm done, man. I'm about to go get me a massage. I got to go to chiropractor. And he just leaves. And then the whole meet, we'd be like, oh. And CB like, CB looked back at us. And he'd be like, dang, he did kind of punk me, huh? I'm like, yeah, he punked you, man. Why don't you let us leave halfway? So it was like, it was that back and forth. But the reality was, the reason I say his name as far as the coolness is because, like, he embodied it. I learned playing for the Vikings, you treat everybody fairly, but you don't treat everybody the same. Mike Tice said that to us. He's like, I'm going to treat everybody fair. Like, this is the league. Y'all all got a shot to play. But I'm not going to treat y'all the same. Because y'all are not Randy Moss. Y'all are not Dante Culpepper. And Moss knew that, man. He walked around with that energy. And then last guy, just got to give a shout out to Megatron, Calvin Johnson, man. Like, the humble hero, Megatron himself, man. He's a solid dude all the way around.
Last one, I won't keep you too long. Were you in Minnesota for the Moon at Lambeau and the Straight Cash Homie interview?
Yeah, bro. Yeah, I saw the touchdown during the Moon and Lambeau. Yeah, I went off that game. They had a rookie by the name of Ahmad Carroll, and he was talking crazy all week long. And he played pretty good during the regular season. But that year, I went off against the Green Bay Packers. And I had a big game at home. And he was having some trouble holding with some penalties. And they were basically like, look, you're going to have your hands full. I think they had the cornerback's name, Al something. Name escapes me.
Harris?
Al Harris. It is with the dreads. He was going to be on Randy. So, reporters were like, okay, Ahmad Carroll, like, you might have your hands full with this Nate Burleson guy. I'm in my second year now. Second year for me, I felt like a grown man. And I remember sitting in the meeting, bro. And imagine, let's just say, like, what I'm about to have in my hand is like the newspaper. Like, so I'm sitting right here, and I'm right by the door. The door opens up. It's Mike Tice. And we're in an offense meeting. So the only reason the door opens up in an offense meeting, it has to be the head coach. So he has, like, the newspaper in his head. And he goes, and, like, hits me in my chest like this. And I'm like, and I look at it, I open it up. He's circled where Mark Carroll said, I don't know if he said he's going to lock me up, or if he's going to he's going to do his job against me, something like that. And then he looks at me, and says, "You going to let a rookie talk shit to you like that?" And he just closed the door. Talk about a master motivator. I was ready to rock right there. That was like on a Monday. I'm like, all week long, I was so locked in. And he kept looking at me at practice. Because he knew, I think in his head, thinking like a coach, if these guys try to double or bracket Randy, which is probably what they're going to do in the playoffs, you're going to have some opportunities. And I had one of the best practice weeks. And in that game, I went off, had a touchdown. And then Randy scored. He did the fake moon because they used to moon us. And I remember the broadcasters, they were like, "That's the stop fake." I'm like, bro, it wasn't
this is a disgusting display.
Yeah, Joe Buck did not like that.
We see bare ass from their fans when we're leaving the stadium. So, come on. That game was great, though, man. Oh, my gosh, man. Beating it was the first time in my career where I felt like I was in an NFL Films moment. Walking out the game and, the brisk air hitting us, and then, seeing Brett Favre on the other side. I remember at one point we were beating them down, and we were up by maybe a couple of scores, and I'm just sitting back. I scored a touchdown. I'm talking, "Hey, what's up, Mom?" Talking to the camera, dapping my guys up, and then Randy was like, he grabbed my jersey. He was like, hey, get your ass up. That's Brett Favre over there. Anything can happen. I'm like, yeah, you're right. You're basically saying, show some respect to Brett. You know what I mean? Don't get too full of yourself. So, but yeah, I love that game.
I was going to say, speaking of talking shit, you ever give Mike Tice shit for the Seahawks music video in the 80s?
Of course. Mike Tice used to give us all crap. Mike was the type of dude, if something happened to you, he was going to talk about it. If you got beat up in the game, he was going to play it in front of the team. If he heard about you getting beat up in the streets and another teammate was there who didn't jump in, he would come in and call out the team. He'd be like, wait, so you guys were in the club and Joe, you got beat up and Greg was in and Greg didn't do anything? Hey, yo, listen, man, I don't care what you got to do. You always have your teammates back. I'm not saying you guys got to go out there and beat up people, but you don't let your teammate get beat up on and off. He was that guy. He was the same dude that also, I'm a kid from Seattle, a black kid from Seattle. My mom and dad from the Bay. So I didn't grow up in any type of, mafia culture. The first time I started watching mafia movies was Mike Tice playing them for us before the games. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh, and now that's my favorite genre is mafia movies. And I think it came from Mike Tice. He would play certain scenes from certain movies. And I'm out there cooking guys on the field, talking about now you just can't leave after beating and scoring a touchdown. It's just Mike had a way of really motivating us.
That's gold.
Love it, man. Nate, you've been super, super, super gracious with your time today, man. These stories are unbelievable. My last question, I feel like I know what the answer is here, but come this fall, we should be getting some good news, hopefully coming out of the NBA with expansion and our Sonics coming back. You getting a 20-game package? You getting a 40-game package? What does that look like for tickets when it comes to our Sonics coming back?
Man, if we get the Sonics back, I'm definitely pulling up game one. I'm taking time off, vacation days. I'm flying to Seattle. I might stay out there all week. I'm going to spring for the court side. It's going to dig deep in my pockets, but I got 50 or 11 jobs, so, it'll be all right. But, I'm definitely going to be out there to represent. To be honest, I might try to be part of the ownership group. And listen, I don't have ownership money. You know what I mean? I got minority money, minority percentage money. So, but yeah, all jokes aside, the one thing that I would love to do is be part of the ownership group of the Seattle Sonics. That would be a dream come true. If I accomplish that, that would be the best thing ever.
I love it.
I think
mean,
this is.
Jay-Z owned less than 1% of the Nets, so I think you got a shot of being a part of it if you can get connected and stuff for sure.
I think this is a good place to come out and publicly declare that as well. So Might get some wheels turning.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, but this has been great, man. I mean, like you just said, you got so many different jobs. Tell the people where they can catch you. I'm sure they already know, but let them know where they can catch up with Nate Burleson on socials and on TV.
Yeah, at Nate Burleson on all socials, CBS Mornings. That's 5 days a week, 7 to 9 a.m. Then also the NFL on Sunday, which is the NFL Today on CBS. And then, Hollywood Squares, we're shooting that every off season. Slime Time, we just ended. It was a 5-year run, but we had our Slime Time show that was on Nickelodeon. There's a few other things that I'm working on. Got a couple of projects and shows that I want to both produce and host. So I'm working, man. Just a kid from Seattle, man, that they gave a stage to. I'm trying to represent and then also hold the door open for more people to come behind me.
That is 50-11 jobs, and we appreciate you blazing the trail for us. Hopefully,
yeah, for real. And shout out to West Coast Willie for hopping on as my co-host today. Shout out to Nate for all the time. This was an absolute pleasure, my guys.
Appreciate you.
Y'all be easy.